Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgimon and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Oshi episode 8. So, what did I think about this week's episode? To be frank, I thought this week's episode was fantastic. I thought it was another great episode in this amazing series so far. I think it was a very important episode for Aqua and Akane's relationship and, planting the seeds of what's to come in the future. We also got to see a lot of Kana and, what she's been up to, as well as you get a little bit of insight in her inner feelings and her relationship towards Aqua. Now, before I go any farther with this week's episode, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Oshi as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode starts off where we left off last time, which is pretty much Aqua being shocked about, Akane's entire change, like how she changed into pretty much resemble somebody like I. And you see how flustered he is about the whole situation, because it's like, this chick and how she acts, and then all of a sudden she reminds you of, the spirit of your mother slash, the girl they used to look up to. So I understand 100% where he's coming from, and he's very, he's very shaken up by it. I mean, and eventually, he starts like feeling uncomfortable, and then the other people are like, hey, what's wrong, like, is she your dream girl or something? And you start seeing Aqua starts like blushing, and that's something we barely see, if at all, some weakness from Aqua, in when it comes to his facade, because he just blushes, and he's kind of awkward about the whole situation, and he storms out. He's like, you guys are dumb. And eventually, the two remaining girls, Miyu and Yuki, they talk to Akane, and they're like, hey, I think he likes you, like, and then because they're like, is your goal trying to be like boyfriend and girlfriend with him? And she's like, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. So you see her start blushing too. So she shows some weakness, because at first she was very dominant in the sense that she was controlling the room, but once things settle down, you see the old Akane that we know, the one that's not playing the facade. So then after that, we cut to Kana, and you see what she's been up to, and she's kind of been watching the show with Ruby. And she's like, man, this show sucks. Like, I'm not gonna continue watching it. Like, it's whatever. And the main reason why she's doing that is because in the back of her mind, she's kind of jealous about the whole situation, because she's like, we obviously know that she has a crush in Aqua. I mean, it's pretty clear. Like, she obviously has some feelings towards him, and we know that she's not very fond about the idea of him getting at these girls in this reality show. So she's just very like sad, in the sense that she's also jealous too, because she's like, am I not as pretty as this chick? Like, and you see all these things kind of pile up on her. But then out of nowhere, you see just Aqua shows up, and he's like, hey, do you want to ditch school? And she's like, yeah, I'm down. And she's like, oh my god, we're hanging out, like, this is great. And you see her all happy, and she's like, so where are we going, like to Disneyland? Are we going somewhere fun? And he's like, you have some very expensive taste. No, we're not doing that. We're actually gonna go throw some baseballs. And you just see Kana's reaction, just 100% pissed off. She's like, what is this? Like, I thought the guy that I like was gonna take me somewhere nice, and he takes me here. Like, and pretty much what happens is she and him have a little heart to heart. Like, he kind of asks her some questions, like, you're the only person I can open up with. Like, you're the only intellectual person that I can have a conversation with and not feel like I have to play a facade. And to Kana, this is great. This is amazing. And she she feels like she might have a shot at Aqua, because she's he's opening up to her. And eventually Kana starts asking, like, is there really no girl you like in that show? And he's like, I'm not looking for romance, I'm just doing this strictly for business. And Kana's like, I mean, you're a boy, I mean, it's only fair to assume that you were gonna check them out. And he's like, you know what, it's probably all puberty and like all these things that are making me kind of start getting some interest in females, but I don't know. Like, he's just like, but talking to you did help out, and I really appreciate that. And Kana, she's just happy that she's able to help. And that's the one thing I want to say about Kana right off the bat. Kana is best girl, okay? No matter what, she is best girl. She's consistently not only the funniest, she's also like the most charming. She also has like the most going for her in the whole package. She's very charismatic. She has a great personality, and I just think that Aqua, you gotta wake up, brother. There's a queen right in front of you, and you gotta take her, because if you don't take her, sure as hell someone's gonna take her from you, and that day you will regret for the rest of your life. So Aqua, step up, open your eyes, and get at this queen that is Kana, okay? So continuing from that, we see that, Aqua's still conflicted about like, what was, I to me? Like he starts questioning this, is like, was she a mother? Like she was a model, like as well, like a girl that I was a fan of, but she was also my mom. It's very awkward. And you see that eventually, he starts confronting, Akane about it, and he's like, you're trying to be I, and that threw me off a bit, but just so you know, like, I'm not gonna falling for that again. Like he's just like, I'm past this. Like he's just like, I know that you must have like really worked hard to perfect this facade of yours, and I applaud you for that, but just so you know, I'm not gonna be thrown off anymore. But he does bring up like, how did you come up with such a good performance? And she's like, oh well, I just assumed that all these things, and I kind of fill in my own ideas of what might have happened to make I have the personality that she has. And Aqua Curious just goes like, well, what exactly made you think that she might have this personality? And she just goes and pretty much says like, well, I assumed that she had a kid. And you just see Aqua completely shook. Like my man he just saw a ghost. Like he's like, whoa, like this chick really did her research. And he's just like, what gave you that idea? He's like, well, her reckless behavior. And she pretty much just states like, all these things just accumulate in my own headcanon that she had a kid. And Aqua's like, oh my god, this chick, I gotta keep an eye on her because she might know too much. And throughout it all, you see that the show is gonna end, and the ships are happening. Like people are being paired off, all these girls are being proposed by the guys are being turned down, and eventually comes to Akane and Aqua. And you see Aqua's inner monologues like, what, you're very talented. In his mind, he's only saying all this. He's like, she's very talented and I could use her in the business, so let me be in her good side. Like, and he just goes, at the end of the show, he goes for the kiss in a very twisted way. He's using her for his own gain. And I think that's one of the things about Aqua's character, that he's a master manipulator. And I just personally think all of this that he's setting up might blow up in his face, because using people, manipulating them, using them as pawns, it might turn back to bite him, and it might blow in his face, like I said. Because what if she does and eventually fall in love with him, and he's just like, well, it was all a facade, I just used you for my own gain. Like, that's terrible. But continue from that, we see that they go to a party because the show wrapped up. And in this show, Aqua goes straight up to the director. It's like, hey, we had a deal, now tell me about I. And the director just like goes like, well, you just so you know, you released that footage about all the thing that happened with Yuki and Akane, and we could sue you for everything, you and your company. And he's like, well, it was, you guys told me I could share anything in my personal social media, so I did. And the director is like, okay, you're fine, I'll let you go, but just so you know, don't do that again, kind of thing. Like, it was like a very dangerous game, don't try that again. And he goes, okay, I won't. And he's like, okay, now tell me about I. And then the dude just says, I'll tell you some other time, I'll tell you next week, how about that? So I think that this guy, he's definitely leaning on Aqua, but the question is why didn't he just tell him then? It's because he probably wants to use Aqua for more gigs in the future, But after that, we see that Aqua and Akane, they have a little like sit down moment where they talk, and they're like, hey, tell me, like, what about this relationship, like what is gonna happen about this? And then Aqua's like, well, I definitely I don't feel like romantic about you, but we could make it like like a business thing where we can, like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but only in the spotlight, so it can boost our own careers, kind of thing. And she eventually goes, I guess that's fine. Now, they leave, everybody says goodbye, and then we cut to Aqua, talking to Mew, the YouTuber, and she's like, hey, like, you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend, that's cute. And then Aqua's like, well, I don't know, like, we're just doing this professional, like, we're just 100% professional about this, we're not actually boyfriend and girlfriend. And she's like, sure, that's what it's gonna start, but then you guys will fall in love, right? And Aqua's like, nah, trust me, it won't. And then he's like, well, what are you gonna do now? I was like, well, the show's over, so I guess I'm just gonna go home. And he's like, hey, just random question, have you ever thought about being an idol? And she's like, yeah, that was my one dream. And then he's like, you want to join? I have an idol group. And she's just like, oh my god, what? That's the one thing I always wanted to do. Like, I became a YouTuber, and I kind of gave away my whole dreams about becoming an idol, but now, yeah, I'm down to become an idol, absolutely. So I'm very curious to see where the story goes from here, because there's a lot of things going down, and I think this story has been amazing so far, and I can't wait to see what happens next in the next episode. But with that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Oshi no Ko, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.